So how do we as great managers get people to buy in and take ownership of their high payoff actions activities, or HPAs as we now call them? Now the best way to do this is by creating what we call vertical alignment around their goals and or the company's goals or organisational goals, so making this alignment to the both of them. Now one of the best examples that I've ever seen this in action was one of our client organisations down in Birmingham in England. Now the managing director of this franchise had asked us to plan and prepare a sales and leadership course for 3 of his new franchise businesses. I'm down in Birmingham, I'm doing my due diligence before we start to launch this new sales initiative, and we're looking through all the statistics and all the figures, and there's a team in Sutton Coldfield who were outperforming all the other teams in this franchise by about 25% month in and month out. I decided, I have to find out what they're doing different. This could really, be important in this new program we're building. So anyway, I decided to jump in the car, and I visited the manager of this branch over in Sutton Coldfield. So we're sitting in the office. This guy's name is Mike, who managed the team, and I asked him, I said, Mike, what is it that you're doing that's so different to what everybody else doing? Your team is outperforming everyone else within this business franchise with huge margins. I think it's 25% month in, month out. What is it you're doing different? Can you help explain it to me and see if I can maybe implement this in this new program? He says, James, it's called our Leading to Quota program. So I asked him, if it's not a secret, what actually is your Leading to Quota program? Can you explain it to me, Mike? As long as it's not, it's not a secret sauce or anything like that. And he said, yeah, no. He says, not a problem at all. He takes me over to a little cubicle, a wee small cubicle. All the business has got lots of these cubicles with the grey kind of cubicle walls on it. And one of the sales team is sitting in the cubicle, a woman in her early 30s, and she's sitting there, she's got a smile from ear to ear. And Mike introduced her. He says, James, he says, this is Kathy. He says, good morning, Kathy. And Kathy looks up at Mike, and she says, good morning, Mike. And Mike points to a picture on the wall, and he says, that's the Leading to Quota program. I looks at this picture, and it's a picture of a white Volvo 4x4, and I said, it's a white Volvo. He goes, no, James, no. It's what the picture represents. He says, come with me. And he takes me over to another cubicle, and there's a young man sitting in the cubicle, and he's mid to late 20s, maybe 27, 28. Well-groomed young guy, and he points to a picture on his wall, and it's a diamond ring, and he says, this is his Leading to Quota program. And I says, it's a diamond engagement ring. And he says, no, James, it's way more than that. It's what the picture represents. Mike pulls me to the side, and he starts to explain to me. He says, listen, he says, James, years ago, he says, I used to talk with my people constantly about the importance of hitting their sales targets. He said everything was quota and targets, and quotas this and targets that, and nothing really kind of changed. It felt sometimes like it was one in one ear and out the other. He said, and I remember one evening that occurred to me that there wasn't one single person on my team that were going to go to their bed that night and dream about hitting their quota. I was sitting that night, and I thought, I got my notepad out, and I was thinking all the things, how am I going to turn things around? And I remember a sales book that I read years ago, and it was about attaching a goal to something personal, a company goal and something personal. He says, James, I realised that night, as I was wondering why my team always seemed to just miss quota month in and month out. I think, what was I doing wrong? I then realised that the quota was what I had set for my team. It was my goal for them. It wasn't their goal for them. And that evening, he said, I knew something had to change. I had to try something different. I had to try and get my team much more focused. So over the next few days, I started to research what high-performing teams across different sectors did to increase their performance. And I came across a book about, vertical alignment and aligning sales with personal goals. And that started the process. I started to put a plan in place. Based on my research, I started to create a new way of aligning the business goals with each employee's goals, and we created this kind of vertical alignment. So what I did is at the beginning of every month, I would sit down with everyone in my team individually, so bring them into the office or into the conference room, and we'd sit down and we'd ask them, what's important to them. For example, James, tell me, so over and above just paying your bills this month, what's really important to you? What's something you want to achieve? What is it something you would like to leverage with the opportunity that we're giving you here at this company? What's something else that you want to do, by leveraging being here? He said, look, let me give you an example, James. At the beginning of this month, he says, I sat down with Kathy and asked her what she would like to achieve. What would she like to accomplish this month over and above just paying her bills through her salary? If she could over and achieve her sales targets, what's something that she would like to do? Kath had said to me, well, I'd like to buy a new car, but things have been a little tight over the last few months. I said to Kathy, let's not worry about how to just now. Just tell me what you would like to have happen. What type of car are you thinking about buying if you could buy it? And Kathy said, well, you know what, I'd really like one of those new Volvo 4x4s. So the next day, just after lunch, I said, Kathy, come with me. So we jumped in the car and I took Kathy to the Volvo deals, which was just round the corner for the office. So anyway, we walked around for a few minutes and she picked out the exact car that she liked and the colour that she wanted, and asked the sales, look, can we take the car out for a test drive? We jumps in the car and we takes it out for half an hour and we're driving the car around. Now after we did the test drive, I asked the young sales guy, have you got a brochure that has the same car in it? He says, yeah, absolutely. He says, I've got one right here. And I says, look, can I have another one? Can you give me two? He says, yeah, absolutely no problem. As we walked back to the office, all she talked about was this white Volvo car and how amazing it was to drive, and the leather interior and the heated seats. The whole way back, the 5 minutes back to the office, all Kathy talked about was this Volvo. And as soon as we got back, I headed straight for the office and I took those two brochures and I cut out the picture of the exact same car that Kathy wanted, and I took that and I gave it to Kathy, and then I cut one out for me and I kept it in my office. He said, you know something, James, every day as she's pushing herself and getting outside of her comfort zone, or she thinks about maybe checking out 15 minutes early or going home a little bit early, or she's having a day where she, sometimes you have a low day. I want her to be able to look at that picture and remind herself of why it is in her best interest to be her best each and every day. Do you know what? It helps build a mental picture in her mind of what's important to her and why she's doing what she's doing. I said, wow, that's really cool, Mike. Can I ask another question? I said, well, you told me you had two brochures and you cut one out for Kathy and you cut one out for yourself. What was the other one for? And he said, well, if you come into my office, let me show you. He says, you'll notice I have the exact same picture on my wall. So on my wall, you'll see all these different pictures. And on that little cubicle wall, there's all these little pictures of all the staff's personal goals listed on this wall. He said, you know something, James, I don't want ever to forget what's most important to the people on my team. We never talk about, quota or sales targets anymore. All I ever do is ask Kathy, for example, is how are you getting on with your new Volvo today? What I figured out is if I can help Kathy get into that new car this month or next, she will more than achieve her sales quota, and I will get what I want while helping her get what she wants. Now I want you to stop and think about this for a second. Why does this process work? What message does this send to the people on the team? When we, as great managers, take the time to find out what's important to the people on our team and we make that important to us, we help to see how they get those things in life by leveraging the opportunity that we are actually providing them. In essence, what it does is it sends a very loud and very clear message that they are important to us and the business. What's important to them is also important to us. They start to look at their managers as, being committed to helping them succeed. And as a result, they become more loyal and more dedicated. They become more committed to the team and to the goals of the team. You see, it's always in the want to that people will discover the how to in life. It's always in the want to that we will discover the how to in life. Our job as managers and leaders, we just have to figure out what they want in life. Sometimes it's a white Volvo 4x4, but many times it's not even that complicated or sophisticated. Sometimes they want recognition or just a pat in the back. Well done, really appreciate it, thanks for that. They want someone to show them what an important job they've done and how meaningful or significant their role is to the team or the business. It can be as simple as that. Sometimes they might want greater flexibility in their schedules so that they can be home and to put their sons or daughters out to school, put them on the bus in the morning, or they might want to wrap up early on a Thursday afternoon to go to their son's football game. They might just want simple things. But the bottom line is this: if we don't ask the right questions, we don't know what they want. Remember this, it's in the want to that people will discover the how to in life. If you want something bad enough, you will always find a way.